China has a population crisis, but some women continue to say no to having babies. This is interesting. Are they undergoing rapid industrialization, modernization, and they're being priced out of starting families too? You mean, I know they're not pure capitalists, but they do have some quasi-capitalistic system. It says China is facing population crisis in part due to more women choosing to focus on their careers. So there we go. We got to create more workers and personal goals instead of starting a family. There it is.
China is facing a population crisis in part due to more women choosing to focus on their careers and personal goals, instead of starting a family. Already grappling with an aging population and poised to be overtaken by India as the world's most populous country, China continues to struggle to boost its birth rate. The Chinese government abolished its one-child policy in 2016 and scrapped childbirth limits in 2021. However, married couples are having fewer children, or choosing to not have any at all, said Mu Zheng, assistant professor at the Department of Sociology and Anthropology at the National University of Singapore. COVID continues to have many negative repercussions and has caused an overall sense of uncertainty towards the future, Mu told CNBC. There's a sense of helplessness that is prohibiting many women from wanting to have children. India's.
And somebody just said, I think it's funny how some Americans, I'll put it up there. Where's your comment now? I think it's funny how some Americans think it's possible to live in a country without having citizens pay taxes. How about police, firefighters, roads, etc.? And I know that argument is what people typically use to want to get you to pay higher taxes, but we have a lot of waste in government. Our government is not efficiently run. That's the issue. We're just sending them money for it to be used and abused, corrupted. I mean, they don't do much with our money. We always have to constantly expand the budget. More departments get created, more bureaucratic red tape, and nothing gets done. Bloated. This is why they say it's bloated. It's almost like this. It's like a microcosm of the U.S. government. Before and after Twitter was taken over by Elon. Before he took it over, they had a huge ass office in San Francisco, or wherever it was, that thousands of employees. He cut like 80%, 70, 80% of the staff. He cut most of them. Bloated. That was a bloated company paying people to do a bunch of nothing. Guess what? Twitter runs the same. It's online as much as it was. As a matter of fact, with less people, he's gotten more done in terms of upgrades. Twitter has more features available now. Yeah, he cut 80% of the workforce. Isn't that something? That could be said for the United States government too. You could probably cut 80% of the government. It would still function just fine. The Pareto principle. 20% of people in the government probably do 80% of the work. Everybody else is just there sucking up our tax money, not doing shit. If you don't believe me, look outside with your own eyes. We have an explosion in homelessness, explosion in mental health issues, explosion in crime, okay? Explosion in health issues. Our bridges, our roads all look like shit. There's steel plates, potholes everywhere. Bridges are rusty. Look around you. Where's all this extra tax money going? Every year we pay more and more and more. I don't see shit improving here. But every once in a while, I'll drive by a brand new plot of land that just got mowed to build some $1 million mansions behind a gate. That's what I will see. We got billions to send overseas for a war, but we don't have the billions to send here and solve hunger for children, homelessness, improve prisons so our recidivism rate isn't so ridiculous. We practically we have a cycle where as soon as you get arrested, you basically go in, you're labeled felon, you can't vote, can't get a job, can't even rent a place, you reoffend, you go back, rinse and repeat, and they make money off you. I was just listening to Chris Hedges in a book. Here's what's crazy. In America, if you get arrested, this will shock some Europeans, perhaps everybody around the world that's not in America. If you have a $10,000 fine when you get arrested, and you spend 25 years in jail working on jail wages, right, which is supposed to be fair, you will come out of prison at the end of your 25-year bid owing $4,000. You will owe money working for 25 years. You will owe $4,000 on a $10,000 penalty, fee, whatever you want to call it. Isn't that something? Oh, and it gets better. If you fail to make payments on the 4,000 you owe after working for 25 years, you go back to prison, you'll get arrested again. Bruh. Beautiful system we have here. Great. It's tremendous. America, number one in the world, baby. If you thought we gave a shit about rehabilitating people in this country, you're out of your fucking mind.
The rising cost of living is also steering more people away from wanting to expand their family, she added. China's National Bureau of Statistics reported that the population dipped to 1.412 billion last year from 1.413 billion in 2021. The natural growth rate was negative for the first time since 1960, according to Wine data. Career and freedom remain a priority. China has a larger population of mothers in the workforce compared with countries in the West, Andy Xie, an independent economist, told CNBC.MPS._exec at mid-responsive. There is a desire to have a career in China and being a stay-home mother is never a goal. It doesn't even appear on the radar for most women, Xie said. As more women attain higher qualifications and rise up the ranks in the workplace, they expect their husbands to earn more than them. According to Xie. In 2020, female students accounted for almost 42% of doctorate degree enrollment, and a significantly higher number of women enrolled for a master's degree than men, Statista data showed. Men face a tremendous burden as women would demand financial security from them, and in turn wouldn't want to get married either, according to Xie, who said that people used to be criticized for being single, but there's no social stigma against
it anymore. Wow, they're changing over. They're modernizing quick in China. I mean, this is probably something that's plaguing people that live in the city, of course, that are stuck in the rat race of that fart was somebody's shitty Honda Civic. Shout outs to all the ricers out there that drive absolute buckets of shit and put a fart can that's loud as hell going 10 miles an hour. So 42% of doctorate degree enrollment were female students. And it says a significantly higher number of women enrolled for a master's degree than men. So women are spending more time in school in general. Are there enough jobs for these women? That's what I'm wondering. Owen, a 31-year-old freelance designer. So that's, if you're going to spend so much time going to school and you end up being a freelancer, you wasted your money. You could have done freelancing without needing a college degree. So this 31-year-old freelance designer from Shenzhen said, only gives her first name, by the way, says so social stigma is still there. She's happy being single right now. All the women who shared their personal experiences for this story were only comfortable sharing their first names. I wonder why. Saving money and focusing on my career are my priorities now. I already feel so exhausted after work. I can't imagine how parents with children feel. So you're being worked to death to be a freelancer at best, and you consider this freedom, where you could have got yourself a man that has a nice job, earns good money, and stay at home and watch the kids without having to work. You're a freelancer. That's hit or miss. You're either absolutely crushing it, freelancing / consulting, like you're killing it. You're charging an arm and a leg, and everybody in whatever industry you're working in wants you. Or you just barely get work here and there, rarely. You're a designer. Designing what? She said most husbands in China often do not play a pivotal role in a child's upbringing. Yeah, because they're busy going up the corporate ladder. It's kind of wild how competitive Asian countries are in terms of business. I mean, Japan has this huge problem where people work themselves to death. And the burden falls entirely on the mothers instead. Yeah, because the men are expected to pay and take care of everything else. Many women don't want to get married because the housework and babysitting duties will fall on them, Owen said. So if women feel that they need to do housework, earn money, that's a key one right there. If you got to do all that and make money and do everything by themselves, why not just be alone? See, that makes perfect sense. If you're asking your woman to be 50-50 and you're expecting her to be a mother at home for the kids and all that, then yeah, man, she's going to end up resenting you. You can't have a traditional or a traditionalist kind of gender role in your marriage or relationship if you, the man, aren't stepping it up. So this is one of the few points women make that is real. Imagine if you as a man are expected to make money, but then also expected to do the chores while she stays at home and does nothing simply because, she's a woman. That's not fair to you. And it doesn't come across as fair to women birthing your child and you want me to work and contribute money to the household and do all this shit. You got to pick and choose. Montana thanks Tokyo Drift in a Honda Civic. His engine would blow up trying to drift that piece of shit. Ryan. Truth is, women enjoy buying useless stuff over anything else. This has become universal. It's wild. That's where the what is it? When I tell you guys that you need to vet correctly, and one of the most important things you need to find is a woman with self-awareness. That's a woman that isn't self-aware at all. If she's trying to do the keeping up with the Joneses lifestyle, she's lost in the sauce. It is what it is. You can spot people that have low enough self-esteem very early that use material possessions to shore up their egos. Those are really easy to spot. Of all the problems that a man needs to look out for, that's the easiest one. I mean, you can tell right away upon meeting somebody, just the way they're dressed, the things they have at their house, the amount of money they have in their bank account. You know what I mean? So if you married a chick that is materialistic, gold digger style, only is into material possessions, gets happy when you buy her things like purses and shoes and all that, yeah, you messed up. Unless you like to just have a pure arm candy sugar baby type of thing. Jackson Whittier, to each his own, yeah. Replace video games with a musical instrument or learning a foreign language, especially if you're moving to a foreign country. Yeah, big time investment there with huge payback. Now, dual income is unavoidable. Women should be happy with whatever help they get. No, that's a cope. It isn't. If you do your job as a man and you invest in yourself a good amount early and you don't fall prey to like porn and video games and whatever else is designed to zap your self-esteem, your memory, your focus, your long-term goal planning, then you'll be just fine. We live in a very soft world today. The truth is you could excel as a man if you avoid these traps in modernity, the hedonism. It's just most men don't want to put in the work and they make excuses. That's like the brutal truth. And then there's like a delusional aspect to this that I've noticed as well. It's because I've had conversations. I've met a bunch of guys that recognize me out in public and stuff. And I had conversations. I mean, people see me at the gym all the time. So shout outs if you're in the chat right now. And I've had conversations with some of these guys out and about because they just say hi and they want to shake my hand or whatever. And some of them will tell me, a little bit of their life story and how hard they're going. And I pry a little bit. I'm like, oh yeah, what did you do? What are you currently doing? Et cetera, et cetera. And once you hear what their actual game plan is what they consider to be, quote, trying, is not actually, it's like you're barely moving the needle. It's just you've lived such a soft life that to you, that's considered progress. And by all means, all progress is good. But what kind of effort you need to put in isn't the same. You're making progress slowly, but you need to put in far more effort and you can become that man. So to be able to get to young men, you need to know about video games to get them interested in talking to you. I don't play them, but I do update on video game news related to them. No, Mark, we don't have to do any of that shit. This is coming, the video game conversation triggers people so much. This is coming from an ex-gamer. I went to tournaments. I played with professionals. The guy I rail against playing games was me. I spent, I don't know how many thousands of hours grinding on video games day in and day out, and you have nothing to show for it. Nothing. Zero. Absolutely fucking nothing. It's a negative, actually. It's not even zero. You have negative to show for it in opportunity costs, which you could have learned something else, some other hobby. And two, it costs you money. It costs you money to buy video games. It costs you electricity to play the damn game all those hours. It costs you stuff to maintain that hobby. Yeah, people have no idea. They think like I'm some boomer. I'm just talking out of my ass. What? Why are you talking about video games? Child, please. I was in Halo 2 lobbies slapping kids up while you're still sucking on your mom's tit. Calm down. Talking about boomers. Fuck you know about pro gaming. You didn't even fucking have a console in your hand yet, you little turd. Oh, man. This shit's funny. Playing StarCraft also. Let's see, what else?
Helping women strike the balance. Trip.com is one Chinese company that takes pride in trying to encourage more women to have children. In an organization where more than half of its 30,000 employees are women, the online travel agency came up with its own solution to encourage women in the company to have more children. We only give women 7 to 8 years to build a career, a family, and have children, CEO Jane Sun told CNBC last month, adding that the timeline is very tight. Many young employees are already 28 years old when they get their PhDs, and pregnancies after 35 years of age come with higher risks, She pointed
Yep.
out, Trip.com offers subsidies from $15,000 to $300,000 to help employees who are Chinese nationals offset the hefty cost of freezing eggs, she said. Trip.com
Freezing eggs. Trip.com is offering subsidies from $15,000 to $300,000 to help employees offset costs of freezing eggs. Imagine, this is how you know you probably make the wrong decision. When in the future, it'll cost you upwards of $300,000 just to have something you could have had you done it sooner, aka a kid. No, sir. Dude, imagine telling a man who's worked his ass off to get high up in a company, to build a business, countless hours, grinding in the morning, sleepless nights, working nonstop weekends, no life, no fun, no experiences with anything. And you tell him, I got to settle down with a woman that may need a $300,000 subsidy for a high-risk pregnancy. This is what older women aren't getting. Thanks, Montana. Halo was my shit when I was 10 years old. Yeah, that was one of the GOATs. And Ryan, this time is the ultimate currency. I regret wasting most of my 20s on games. Likewise, dude, I could have been, who knows where I could have been right now. All those thousands of hours I put in a game could have been, I could have learned anything. I could have became a master in anything. Jackson, thanks for the 10, bro. If you want to be a passport bro, accounting, teaching English, or tech is your best bet. I just quit my trucking job to pursue a career as a tax accountant. God damn. Good shit, brother. What's going on, Ethan? Someone said, I regret wasting my time chasing women who were never going to settle down with me in my 20s. What the fuck? Yeah. Calm down, player. Damn. Leave some for the rest of us. Holy shit. Busy slaying too hard right there. He was slaying so much it was a time waste. Okay, funny enough, I know that feeling. I also regret that. It's funny you bring that up. I make fun of you because I know exactly what you mean. Me and my buddies were talking about this, how much we spent chasing Poon, and it was so stupid. How much time wasted entertaining stupid conversations, same pickup lines, same line of conversation. It turns into like a robotic, automated, I'm just trying to get laid. You're not actually interesting, like this soul-sucking black hole. Because, when you're young as a man, again, when I was plugged in the matrix like a little turd, I didn't really know myself or begin to have any of this like deep level of introspection. I was like, yeah, dude, getting women is obviously what's the marker for a man. The more women you can get, the more masculine you are, the more of a man you are, It was like your worth in the eyes of society. Because that's what we were sold on that, to be honest. When you look at music videos, when you look at movies, when you look at, culture at large, we celebrate promiscuity, not just from women, but promiscuity for men. Like, you're a big daddy, big time pimp player. You're the man. You're the shit. Look at all the women on his arms, around his arms. So you look up to that. And that's, as a young man, very, very enticing because your hormones are already out of control. You're pitching a tent, just a woman walking by you, covered in a damn bird. You don't even have to see shit. She could be covered up in 30 layers. Your hormones are so out of control, though, that it is what it is, pimp. Tents being pitched nonstop all day, every day. So, yeah, wild hormones, plus the culture, plus the vicinity, right? There's the peer pressure of being in, say, college, and it's already just a mess of hookup culture and one-night stands and all that sort of degeneracy, and you're partaking, and then you include alcohol, and voila, It's like the perfect recipe to just brainwash yourself into a path where, again, that's also a trap, man. Chasing women incessantly is a fucking trap. It's a time sink just like video games. If I were to give men like some real simple advice, I wouldn't even, let me see, how would I say this? I wouldn't give a woman the time of day, today, right now, knowing what I know now. If she doesn't have genuine interest for me, and I mean genuinely carrying the conversation, genuinely wanting to meet, effort is being put into seeing me, effort is put into every moment we spend together. If I'm not getting return energy that matches mine in any way or surpasses it, I'm not wasting a second convincing some street queen or anybody for that matter to spend time with me. Once you really learn how valuable your time is as a man, because the rest of the fucking world wants a piece of it, when you truly, truly learn the value of your time, you will not give it to anybody for any reason unless they're worthy, unless they show that they're worth giving up your time to. It takes a while, man, for a man to really come into his own and learn how valuable his time is. And once you internalize all this and you start moving differently, that's where you get that abundance mentality, essentially. That outcome independence is what they call it. You really don't give a shit about a woman unless she cares about you. So you'll see these guys are very like laissez-faire, very just aloof when they talk to women. They don't really care about the outcome, which in a weird way makes you more successful, because that thirst, that energy of like you trying to get laid isn't there. She can feel like, he probably has a lot of women, or, something's wrong. He's not all over me fiending. He's not a little addict to get sex, right? It's just, damn, this guy's really confident in himself. He's just well put together. He won't give me the time of day unless I act right. And she can sense that. Takes a minute to get there, though, boys. Where's I at? Oh, yeah. He was playing the real Slayer LMAO. He's not wrong. Wasting time is wasting time regardless. DSG, thank you, brother. Tech is a great place to start your career, even if you can't code. Coding wasn't for me, so I learned how to manage people who can code. There are always options you haven't considered. Go find a mentor. Good advice, man. Very good. And then Toddzilla, thanks, brother. I'm in my late 40s on testosterone replacement therapy. I'm pitching a tent all the time. It feels like I'm in high school again. Hell yeah. Montana, thanks. And speaking of time, I spent half of my 20s rodeoing and cowboying until the pandemic shut my world down. Then I woke up to the current BS today. At least I accomplished something I was aiming for. Hell yeah. Back to this ridiculous. Oh, what are they doing to support women? Let's see.
We have less than 48 hours before this year's International Women's Day arrives, and you have largely been credited with pushing forward for a gender equality at your company, to the extent that now more than half of your employees are women and a third of managerial positions. Is this enough in the managerial positions, or is there more work to be done? And, how can we best support women to be able to climb the ladder?
As a company, we have done quite a lot. When the female is pregnant, we offer free taxi to bring them to work and take them home. When the baby is born, we give them $800 as a gift, $3,000 as education fee. And we still think there is more to be done. So for our young employees who get PhD, when they graduate from their school, they are already at the age of 28 or 27. And doctors normally classify any pregnancy after 35 as high risk pregnancy. So if you calculate between 27 to 35, we only give 7 to 8 years for females to build a career, build a family, and have their children. And it is very tight. So some of our young employees decide to use high technology and have their eggs frozen. And our company has a policy to pay for these costs. And therefore, as a result, female employees are very glad to work.
Okay, so in order to attract a female employee, this company specifically is subsidizing what we see earlier, upwards of $300,000 to freeze eggs, keep them frozen. As a business owner, if I'm starting a business and I'm hearing some shit like this, it makes you not want to hire a certain age and a certain gender. I've had this conversation with other business owners too, some women, and they say similar things. I could see something like this being mandated for the future. Because again, the massive equity push that we have right now, it's not hard to see that companies would start offering this like wholesale to every woman, period. Here's why you want to work for us. We'll subsidize freezing your eggs to the tune of $300,000. We'll do that for each and every one of you. How competitive does that make that business in the market? If you have to subsidize at least 50% of your workforce in some way or another like that. Are all women going to need to do this? Of course not, but that's still expensive.
Work in our company because we support them in great length. As you said, as a result, more than 50% of the workforce are females. More than 40% of the workforce, middle managers are females, and more than 1/3 of the executives are females.
Sounds like a lot of money to me. Says Ryan, let me see here. Imagine if something happens at the location your eggs are stored and now your hopes of having kids are done. Man, that's such a good one right there. What do you do in that situation? Yeah. Oh my God, this giant building that was harvesting and holding tens of thousands of women's eggs are all gone. Poof, there goes your reproduction. It's bound to happen one day, somewhere. I think that's when you have to start talking about redundancy, right? And fail safes. So you have to split your eggs in multiple facilities just to be safe, obviously. Don't, quote, put all your eggs in one basket, ladies. Jesus. When the initiative first started in 2018, more than 50 employees contacted the firm's welfare team to find out if they were eligible. Holy hell. We are amongst the first or maybe the only Chinese company that offers this option, according to Sun. You always have to offer this option up, and whether people take it or not, it's completely up to them. Pregnant employees are offered free taxi rides to and from work and receive cash benefits when their child is born and starts school. How come men get none of this shit? Do men get some of this for having kids and being away from their child? I mean, they act like men want to just leave the house all the time and never be home with their own children. Kind of a little bit sexist, is it not? Can anyone freeze their eggs? But there's a caveat. Women in China who want to freeze their eggs must be married, according to Chinese regulations. All right, here we go. It's a good caveat. That's a good one. However, some women in China want children, but may not be ready to get married. So they're not wanting broken homes. Got to be married to take care of this little issue with subsidizing your eggs. Okay, all right. That's pretty well-intentioned. That makes sense. Okay, that's reasonable. However, women are now more economically independent, so marriage is not such an attractive option to many of them. According to data from the CEIC, 7.64 million couples got married in 2021, a decline from 8.14. Ooh-wee. Additionally, women who divorce after having children face social stigma and struggle to balance their career while raising a child alone. I don't think it's shameful to be a single mother, but I kept it a secret from my colleagues as I don't want them to look at me differently, said Shannon, a 36-year-old mother from Shenzhen. Shannon told CNBC, so it's like CNBC propaganda here for single motherhood overseas. It's better to have gotten divorced than never getting married at all. Her father told her that. Although she is happier after the divorce, being a single mother comes with difficulties she never expected, she told CNBC, highlighting that she struggles with having enough time and freedom to do what she wants. Okay, single mother wants free time to do whatever she wants. Are you shitting me? Those are your priorities? Once you have a kid, it's game over. It's your kid that matters.
I am very happy with my child, but I sometimes regret becoming a mother, Shannon said. I'll never want to have another kid and I don't want to get married again. China's southwestern province of Sichuan announced at the start of the year that unmarried residents are able to reap the same benefits of married couples, a move it hopes will increase the country's birth rate, Reuters reported. Such actions could possibly help solve low fertility in China since it is decoupling the connections between marriage and fertility, Mu said. Housing concerns. High property prices in China continue to hinder many couples who might want to settle down, said Xie the economist. Owning property in China is a really strong symbol, and people would often want to buy a house before tying the knot. However, housing cost is a big concern for anyone who wants to get married, Xie said. It needs to come down by at least 50% to make marriage more desirable, according to The Economist. There are no single silver bullets here, he added. Housing availability and price are contingent on marriage and the number of children that couples have, CNBC's Daisy Cherry.
So it looks like it's not going too well for them over there on that side of the pond either. Great. Rising housing costs is a big concern for anybody all over the world.
Why is this